How are you? Good morning, New York City.
I'm okay. I'm actually in Los Angeles, so
You are. Okay, so this wasn't like you had to get up extremely. Well,
no,
actually, you slept in normally like I did.
I did.
Okay.
I did. My daughter and my son are here with me, so there you are, Shawn. They're here with me from New York, so uh,
Quarantining.
I'm quarantining with them for the next 7 days, and we are homeschooling. And I have not had them here with me since they went into official quarantine in New York City on March 11th. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, considering everybody's had different start dates for their quarantine. I mean, I started March what 7th, so yeah, it's everybody's different.
Right. I
But
started mine earlier too because we were in the middle of shooting the morning show season 2, as you guys know. Now we're on a pause, and so I started mine right after I had done a couple of scenes for episode 1 and episode 2. We're shooting in tandem. We're shooting for block shooting, so we're doing a lot of different scenes from the first 2 episodes, and then of course we stopped. So and after that it was, but even before we went on our pause, we were already like, we're not shaking hands. We're just, elbow, we're just, hey, how are you? Good to see you. No, not doing, I mean, we were doing that already, right? Because we had heard about it.
yeah, exactly. Well, since you were talking about the morning show, let's go into it. I
Ooh.
mean, this show has gotten so much great buzz. Your character, the funny thing is how I came to your character. My husband had watched the entire season on the plane or something and was like, oh my God, the morning show. He said, there's this woman on the show that is killing it. And I was like, who is she? Let
Who's
me look.
killing it down? Wait a second.
And I looked you up and I was like, oh my God, this woman is got this amazing career of Broadway. I mean, the PBS stuff, just all these different things. And I'm so happy we're able to see your jewels that you're bringing to the table.
Okay.
Um, Talk to me about that character. Just what does that character mean to you at this particular point with the Me Too movement and all these other things going
Right.
on at the
Well,
time?
Mia Jordan was sort of a character that was created, um, was an amalgam of 2 characters that they put together in the audition process. They decided, hey, do you want to try this arc and this arc, and let's see if we can put these 2 characters together. Originally, she was a woman who had a long time affair with Mitch Kessler. And they also included the idea that she was also kind of a producer on the rise on the morning show, and how that experience of, having that side relationship affected her ambition and her growth at the show. Um, there's, I don't know if there's a lot of interesting avenues to talk about a woman who decided that she was going to be involved with it in an extramarital affair. I mean, what for me was kind of interesting is the sort of unraveling of discovering that he was a predator, and that he had actually preyed on dozens of women at the job. And the discovery of that as she came out of that relationship, and how his behavior negatively affected her career before she found that out, and what was going on. And there was just so much as an actor to sort of absorb in the process of understanding where the writers and the producers wanted to take the arc, because was sort of in a place of judging her kind of harshly. And
Yeah.
it forced me into the place of thinking about the kind of compassion and humanity that I needed to have for women who find themselves in the position of connecting to men who actually are not good people in the world. Do you know what I mean? Not men who are not good to women. And quite, frankly, on my personal life, Shawn, it forced me to really take a look at the men who were around me and what kind of behavior I tolerated from them. It was, Mia is a true gift to me in that way. I mean, I really had to sort of examine my own issues, my own flaws, and how I perceive men and my relationships with them.
I mean, that I watched one of my favorite episodes. I think it was episode 7. Um, those scenes
Yeah.
were, I mean, okay, so this is what I want to talk to you about. When you do those scenes, at how are they shooting? Are they giving so much of your do you get to do your scenes first, or are you playing off of them? Because everybody's POV, everybody shoots these shows differently, especially now. Um, were you able to just go all the way there that first take? And when it came around to your POV, it just probably exploded. It was, I want to say, magic watching.
I will say that the directors and the producers are very, very kind in how they examine how the emotional toll that it takes on an actor to do that kind of work for hours at a time. For that particular scene, they did shoot my point of view first. Roxanne Dawson, who also shot that incredible movie with Mike Coulter and Chrissy Metz a couple of years ago about the young man who had fallen into the frozen water, and I forget the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a great, great movie. She shot that episode. She was very thoughtful. She comes from a theater background, so she understood the kind of dynamic that I wanted to create. She was giving me great direction through the whole thing. Yeah, you kind of have to, at that level, when you're working with those level of actors and producers, cameramen, writers, you got to go there every single take. You got to give it every single solitary thing you have. It takes incredible focus and concentration, but I mean, this is what we do it for, right? We're all actors in the hopes of creating a new conversation with our audience and around empathy and compassion and understanding and humanity. So every single take mattered to me. I knew that was the top of her arc for season 1. And so I knew that from that point forward, as the episodes move forward, you would see less of Mia after episode 8. Episode 8 was a flashback. So episode 8 was actually my episode 1 for my character. Weirdly. Yeah, it was they're just incredibly generous to us as actors as far as how we shoot and what we shoot. That was a very first day of shooting for episode 8. And I was like, is there no way we could shoot this day 3 or day 4? They're like, nope, we need to know that moment is gonna go, Karen. You up first. Good luck. You know what I mean? So it was a challenge, but it was great. It was great fun. Great challenge.
I think you did phenomenal. That alone, that scene, yeah. I just wanted to commend you, because I know when the pressure's on and everybody's ready to go, and then there's just been so much backstory. And if you have a director like Roxanne, who's so giving and understanding of, this is just not, just like we're just giving words. These are lyrics to a song that's telling a story. And this is Mia's story. So I think it was phenomenal. But could we just go into your theater background? Because I want to talk to you just a little bit about that. And I mean, everybody thinks that, you just appeared. Actually, no, it doesn't happen like that.
Not at all.
You've been a member of the unions, you've been a member of equity, Actors Equity. So this is all a part of the journey. Just talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, my theater journey started 2004 when I went to grad school at NYU, graduate acting, and had some of the best training and teachers that this country has to offer, that American theater has to offer. And I was very blessed to be taught by people like Zelda Chandler, Victor Pappas, and Richard Feldman, and Jim Calder. I had incredible voice faculty there. I could go on and on. There's so many great actors in film, American film and American television, American theater that I've graduated from that program. And so that started my career in 2004. And I was a cover and understudy in a couple of Broadway shows before I really booked my first big off-Broadway job. I worked at Lincoln Center for almost my entire career in New York City. I find that the writers and the environment at Lincoln Center Theater is perfect for my way of acting. You know, every actor has their own way into their process. It can be very specific. And they encourage that level of focus. I consider them kind of an incubator space for actors who take their work very, very seriously. I worked with Dominique Morisseau recently on Pipeline. That was on Broadway HD. Hopefully you saw that. Lincoln Center Theater put that on there, and Live at Lincoln Center put that on there with Broadway HD. I worked on Disgraced, which was my official Broadway debut with Ayad Akhtar. I was nominated for a Pulitzer and for a Tony. I worked with Bruce Norris in Domesticated. These are all writers who are, he's also Pulitzer Prize winner, also Tony nominated. These are, you know, and I made it part of my focus as an actor to work with playwrights at all stages of development. So I did lots of workshops, I did lots of readings, and that really helped me once I got to TV and started working on Luke Cage and working on The Americans, especially working on The Morning Show, because you learn how to articulate yourself as an actor, to ask the right questions, to not only spark the imagination of the writer, but also to spark your own imagination, to be authentic in the work that you do. So my theater background is really, really important to every single thing I do right now.
I mean, the inner dialogue of an actor when they're in that moment is so important. Talk to us about Yellowstone.
Oh, I'm so proud of Yellowstone. I can't wait for everybody to see Yellowstone. I can't wait. Well, you know, I'm a big fan of Taylor Sheridan. Listen, I'm a big fan of writers, period. Like, I immediately fall in love with every writer. Doesn't matter if they're male or female. I just like, I love you. Let's make out. I just love writers. And so, Taylor Sheridan is one of my all-time favorite writers. He writes these incredibly long, beautiful stories about the American West, about Native Americans, about just these incredible films of people conquering enormous, incredible odds to win a war, or, you know, all those things. And he's brought that incredible expertise to this show on Paramount TV called Yellowstone. It is their cornerstone of their network television original programming. Kevin Costner is in it, Kelly Riley's in it, Wes Bentley is in it, a whole bunch of great actors that I really love. I play a character named Willa Hayes, and she comes in mid-season and challenges the Duttons to share or sell off some portion of their property. This isn't new information. This is all in the press. And she has to deal with their serious resistance to letting go of any of the land, and they're dealing with all the other things that are pulling at them and their properties and financial woes. And Willa comes in with a great deal of swagger, and she's a CEO of a financial capital company. And I loved playing a CEO character. I loved it, a woman in charge. I think I might be the only African-American woman in this kind of storytelling that they've ever had on this show, but they have a ton of really strong women on the show this season. I think everyone's going to be really excited about it.
And at this point, when do you know? Because now with everything going on, I think the programming scheduling has probably changed slightly, if not a lot. Do you know anything of what the date is of this?
Yeah. So Yellowstone premieres on June 21st. That's a Sunday. That's Father's Day.
Okay.
On Paramount TV. And I will be tuning in. And again, I mean, it starts on June 21st, so you're not going to see me navigate in there until maybe mid to late July. But you're going to love it. You're going to love it, Shawn. It's so good. I'm so surprised at how many African, because, you know, it's a very American West. It's like cowboys.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and I'm like, I don't know anybody who watches the show. Literally all my African-American male friends watch this show.
Yeah, well, you know why? I think Kevin Costner, him alone, that show has so much meat and bones to it that when it's good writing, people don't care. So you being on the show is an organic, you know, seed to this. And it makes so much sense for you to be playing this strong character because everybody on the show is strong. So I feel like you coming in, what else are you supposed to be? but a
Right,
strong.
exactly. You got to be a strong person if you're going to walk into Yellowstone, I'm telling you.
This is my home. I made a promise. Protect it. Care for it. Love it. Me and this family can't break it.
I won't betray you. You have my word.
We're about to find out what that's worth.
Market Equities is building an airport, and then they're gonna build a city around it.
It's called economic evolution.
You are sealing yourself into the Alamo. These guys won't take prisoners either.
Hey, I want you to give John Dutton a message for me.
And just like that, 7 generations of our family legacy will be taken from you.
This valley's mine. Come and get it. I plan to.
This is survival.
Kill or be killed. You leave now, or you never leave.
You know what they say about making deals with the devil?
This genie does not go back in the bottle.
I think you're up for this fight, Beth. You have no idea how wrong you are.
You are the trailer park. I am the tornado.
Every road leads right here.
Destiny's a hard thing to run from, isn't it?
You're all I need.
You are truly evil.
All I do is kill! There's monsters everywhere in this world.
Shawn, I'd be remiss if I did not talk about just this incredible experience over the last several days, couple of weeks of what it is meant to be, before we log off here, what it's meant to be an African American in these extraordinary times of Mr. Arbery and Mr. Floyd and Mr. Cooper. And I don't know how it's affecting you as a person of color, but for me, it's been extraordinarily challenging. Just like I have no more hashtags, like I have no more thoughts or prayers, or do you know what I mean?
It's completely, I mean, there's just no way to, you focus every day with what we're dealing with as it is. And then you turn on the TV, not necessarily the news, because you're trying to stay aware of what's going on. And then emotionally, you feel like you've been depleted once again, like every single day. There's another hashtag, there's another reason to call a number of another state to complain about being just treated equally. So
Yeah.
every day. So it's, I mean, I fully understand, you know, how you feel.
I think for me as an actor and as an artist, you know, if I open up my Instagram or my Twitter in the morning or whatever, it just inundated with these, and I think folks are just posting it because they're outraged, but inundated with these videos of people literally dying. And they're dying, they're being hunted down on the back of a truck. You know, there's a woman faking a position of being really damaging with a guy who's clearly like, yeah, lady, do what you got to do, but tie up your dog. And she's choking her dog. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just no processing all of it at once. And I have some friends who are very successful on social media. They don't. I feel the need as an African-American person who has even a small platform to say something about what's
of course,
which is why I'm bringing it up with you. But it is exhausting, anxiety building, terrifying for me to be an African-American in this country right now. It's just, some days it's just like,
it's too much. I mean, you get on, let's see, this is my thing. My goal is usually to kind of meditate before I go and click my phone.
Exactly.
You know, like for instance, today I took more than 45 minutes, and then I clicked on my phone. I wasn't even ready to even get like ready to talk to you yet. And I'm like, I'm already in this fight mode.
Right, wound up.
Like, who do I have to call? Oh, but no, I need to do this interview, but I got to call, you know, it just goes on and on and on. But this is just asking for equality.
Yeah.
It's not even, you know what I mean? I'm in the park and your dog is not on a leash and I'm asking you, but the fact that you felt the need to perform horrible theater, and then says her life was ruined. Well, he could have been in the obituary today.
Right,
So,
right, exactly. You know, it was horrible theater, wasn't it? It was like really bad acting. I was like, she's
really bad.
not going to deal with this, is she?
I also get concerned with the dissecting of the victim. Like, oh, he's such a nice guy and he's done stuff for, Marvel Comics. What if he was a panhandler? What if he was selling, what if selling tacos on the street? I don't really care.
No one deserves to be treated like that. No one does.
So yeah, I mean, no, I'm fully in position with you on that. It's extremely difficult. And so you have to mentally prepare yourself even to click on your phone and answer a phone call.
Yeah. And especially I feel like this is one of those moments as someone who does have social media, who is African American, and things that my, white colleagues or white friends who have social media and have a larger platform don't have to deal with on a frequent enough basis. Certainly everyone around me is very conscientious and outspoken as far as, civil rights and equal justice and that kind of stuff is concerned. I really have very, very thoughtful collaborators on the morning show who very, very, very much want to have conversations around stuff like this and personally, and they feel like it matters. But I do feel the responsibility as an African American who people watch, and where I know that what I represent on this platform really matters, to speak to what is happening in this country with these men and women, quite honestly.
Yeah, and women, sleeping in your bed and having plainclothes officers come in and ask you to put your hands up, and you're like, you didn't identify yourself, and why are you in my house? But I'm dead.
Right, you're talking about Breonna Taylor right now, right? And so, but there are countless.
There's too many. Yeah.
Ava DuVernay put something on her.
I saw.
Did you see her Twitter where she said, the only reason why we have the opportunity to talk about it right now, I'm paraphrasing, but the reason why we have the opportunity to talk about this right now is because we can film it. But just know that this has been going on for decades in this country. And I think that she was meant to create a sobering reality for people. For me, it was just like, it's just like, Ava, I can't take no more. I'm on pass. I'm going back to bed. Because it just is.
Because you think about all the people and lawsuits that never happened, that we never heard about. You think about all of those. You think about Emmett Till. You think about how the woman who lied on Emmett Till is very much still alive.
Yeah.
No charges.
You think about the Equal Justice Initiative down in Montgomery, Alabama. Think about Brian Henderson and his work for wrongly incarcerated people. Part of the thing that I did with Pipeline was to hopefully shine a light on what it is like to be a young Black man in this country.
Yep.
Public schools are feeding right into the prison population. I mean, it's just, there's just not enough to be done.
The public schools not even explaining and talking about the history of all Americans in this country and how the country was formed.
Yeah.
I think you get a sense of pride when you know where you came from and who built this country. And I mean, how many inventions that were, by us. If you don't have that, I just feel that there's a sense of like, you're just kind of like here, kind of on borrowed time, not really. There's something that goes into the psyche,
And especially in a time where we're dealing with the extraordinary difficulty of this particular medical pandemic, the disenfranchisement of many African Americans as they walk through this really scary time health-wise, the marginalization of our community as seen in Mr. Arbery and seen in Mr. Cooper and seen in Ms. Taylor and seen now in Mr. Floyd, it just is, you know, if you keep hearing those messages as a young person, you don't know that you own your quest for the American way, where we are all equal in this country, because it doesn't look like it from the day to day. You know, when you hear about it every day, you don't learn about the history of it in school, and you don't see it on TV. You know, it is, I think you're right. I think it's really, really sad for our young people. So that gives me something to think about. What opportunity can I create today through my work and through my art to make sure that young folks know that they are important and they're valuable in this country, along with other children of any other color, race, or religion.
Exactly.
So anyway, I wanted to mention that. I didn't want to leave
it
weighing on me before I really had to get myself together before, like you did. I had to get myself together. It is so much a part of that melanin conversation that you guys are having in Hollywood Melanin. And it's just so important for me to actually speak to as a function of, especially as a function of talking to you today. So I appreciate it, Shawn.
Well, thank you very much. And we're looking forward to all the work you're giving, and your interview will be up very soon.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Thanks, Shawn.
Good one.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye.